Hello, everyone. This is Darryl from Indieweek, and welcome to our new edition of Indie Weekly, part of Global Toronto Online. And we're very excited to be part of this new conference. Hope you have been taking in some of the earlier sessions today and plan to take in more this week. We're talking today about focus on Brazil and how the arts are navigating global pandemic and political unrest. We will be getting to our speakers shortly, but first I would like to introduce you to a Canadian artist, Julie Neff. And first I gotta say thank you, Julie, for sharing your music with us today. I first met Julie in Chile on a cab trip which was awesome. And we've been working together since then, collaborating. And also, that was a trip that I went on to Sao Paulo, where I met one of our guests, Fabi, today as well. So, Julie, what song are you going to play for us first?
First, I'm going to play a song called How Do I Get By? And I actually wrote this with an artist from Brazil. So I wrote this song. We did a collab on a couple different songs. So the band Elefante from Brasilia. And we wrote this about the unseen people in society, about how easy it is to kind of go about our day and not really notice people in need. And so this song is about that. It's kind of a conversation between someone on the street and myself. It's almost like me talking to myself about this issue. So here we go. It's called How Do I Get By? You walked right by me 1,000 times, but that first time I saw the pain in your eyes. You watched me suffer and wondered why no one helped me. How would I survive? How did I get here? How do I get by? How can you wonder? Never really ask why. How did I get here? How do I get by? How can you wonder? But never really ask why. But then the years pass, and nothing changed. All that empathy you felt had been rearranged. And I know it hurts to keep your heart open wide. All that love you feel, it's not enough sometimes. Oh, how did I get here? How do I get by? How can you wonder? Never really ask why. How did I get here? How do I get by? How can you wonder? Never really ask why. Oh, why? Oh, why? Eu sinto tão bem e me faz bem não ter que esperar. Eu sinto tão bem e me faz bem não ter que esperar. How did I get here? How do I get by? How can you wonder? Never really ask why. How did I get here? How do I get by? How can you wonder? Never really ask why.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie. We'll have Julie back for another song after the discussion, as well as we get a chance to talk to Julie a little bit more. Couple things. First off, while we are here internationally and online, we are home-based in Toronto. And one of the things that I always start by saying is that while we are based in Toronto, I'd like to acknowledge that the land we gather on here is the traditional territory of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, Métis, and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. It's very important that we do connect with our Indigenous friends and community. Also, as Indieweek, we always have to thank the people that help support us, Factor Canada and Ontario Creates. Without them, we would not be able to do our activities. So thank you so much. One of the things that I do have to say, a bit of industry news, is if you are a for-profit company in Canada, phase 2 funding through Factor the deadline is next Wednesday, and this is not really a grant, it's a relief fund. So if you are a concert promoter, a festival, artist manager, venue, especially venues, funding is available, and deadline to apply for that is next Wednesday. So, and one thing before we get started, use the chat. We are building online community here, which helps cross international borders. A lot of what we do is important about us all moving through this and getting through it together and building something positive on the other side of it. So please feel free to drop links. Please tell us where you're tuning in from in the chat section, and also use the direct messaging to connect. Connection is very important during this time. So with that said, I would like to introduce our guests for today. So we'll go one by one. And first, I would like to introduce DJ Mom. And DJ Mom, I met at Sim Sao Paulo a few years ago. And every time I've been to Brazil, we connect, and we've been talking about how can we collaborate and work towards this Canada-Brazil relationship. And here we are. It's funny how it's taken this so that we can introduce DJ Mom to Toronto and Canada. So DJ Mom, you are involved with so many things. I'm having a hard time keeping up. The last major thing that I saw you with is a concert with Sting, SOS, I believe it was called.
Yes.
Could you please tell us some of the activities that you are working on?
Yes, it's a pleasure to be part of the panel with our introducer, Fabiana Batistela. It's our biggest event here in Brazil, and another partner from Brazil, André, from CoMA Festival, another really nice festival. And with you guys, and you, Darryl, thank you so much. So I'm involved with music projects that dialogue Brazilian culture with world music, mainly. And also I do projects with this kind of music hybridism, music hybrid, Brazil with world music, dialogue with other creative economy sectors. So I produce some festivals. I have 2 main festivals that are Sotaque Carregado, that's also the name of the label that I have. It was with Sunny Music, and nowadays is with the Orchid, that is from Grupo Sony, that we release this type of music, Brazilian, with world music and with beats. I forgot to say, with beats. And the festival is about it. We take to the stage artists from Brazil and from the world, and of course the contents of the contemporary it's always on the stage with the artists. So LGBTQA plus it had their time on the stage. The Black Lives Matter. It was in Brazil a kind of cause that we took to the stage. Nowadays, it's indigenous cause, and it's so hard, so powerful, the violence that they are receiving, that we dedicate a music series in our project. It's called the Demarcação Já Remix. It's to demarcation the indigenous lands. It's from a campaign from Greenpeace. And we made a festival just dedicated to the indigenous and the environmental cause, Demarcação Já Remix Festival. And besides, we have another projects that are, all the projects are serious, yeah. Sotaque Carregado, that was a festival, it's so humilde, like closer than Sing São Paulo. It's a little small conference. It's from a festival. We started doing a conference, but focus in dialoguing Brazilian culture and marketing with the European marketing, and some seasonal projects like Carnival Remix. It's artists from Carnival remixed by DJs, and the Arraiá Remix that will be next Friday also. It's artists from north and northwest of Brazil that celebrates the Santo Join rhythms and culture. The saint came from Portugal, this kind of party, and we do remix of that. And but the more important thing is we always are engaged in causes. So our projects nowadays, I'm involved in a project called the Bora Testar. It's called like Let's Test. It's like Let's Test COVID-19. And this is a project to take the COVID-19 tests to the favelas of Brazil and to the indigenous groups. And this series, these labels from Sotaque Carregado music label are the online events that each month we do to communicate and to take care of these causes. I wish you understand. I'm sorry for my English 60% maybe.
No, it's great. And I just wanted to clarify for some people that favela, is that how you say it? Favela?
Favela, yes.
So these are areas within Rio, and they're kind of up in the hills, and kind of are run sort of more by the drug lords overseeing each of these neighborhoods. I myself, I've gone a couple times to eat. DJ Mom, you took me there. We had a big meal one time. It was great. But yes, so these are areas that could be very hard hit by COVID. And, you know, I think on another discussion with Fabi, we sort of talked, like, I'd seen from here, there was like almost like the drug lords sent out a press release where they were saying, we see some of you may not be observing the 8 p.m. curfew to stay in. Let's be sure you will observe the curfew today. And it's almost like they're the police of these neighborhoods. Man, Mom, I don't know how you do all this work. It's very amazing. And again, we're very happy to have you here. So
thank you so much. It's a lot of partners and a lot of people with a big heart like yours. So it's possible.
Yes, we all work together as a community. I want to now introduce a very good friend of mine as well, Andre Noblat from CoMA Fest. Andre, we met also a few years ago, and you're also in a band called Trampa. You've played Canada a number of times. Can you tell us a little bit about CoMA Fest and what the activities are for CoMA?
Hi guys. Thank you for the invitation, Darryl. I think the last time that I spoke in English was in CoMA Fest last year with you. So sorry about some word that escapes here. I am one of the creators of CoMA Fest. It's one of the biggest alternative festivals in Brazil, the biggest one in Brasilia, the capital. It's a festival that works with music, of course, but we work some issues too, like racism, homophobia, how I say that in English. I don't know. We fight against these issues in our festival.
Homophobia.
Homophobia. Thank you, Fabi. And you talk about the environment too. So it's not only a musical festival. It's a festival to debate these kinds of issues, to bring some Fabi, consciência.
Consciousness
to the people. Fabi will help me.
I'm the translator today.
Yeah,
sorry, guys.
Thank you very much. So it's a huge festival. We have like 3 years old. It's a young festival. And I run here in Brasilia another thing, a cultural magazine called Strassels that works with homeless people. We sell like 10,000 magazines per month, and all the money goes to the homeless people, and we try to take them out of the streets. It's a huge work that we do like for 4 years. And I miss a lot Canada. Without the pandemic, this crisis, we had a tour that we scheduled to April that we couldn't do. So we hope we come back next year. But it's a huge honor and pleasure do this talk with you guys, because Canada, it's like my second country. So thank you, Darryl, for the invitation.
Yes, and I would have also been at CoMA Fest last week as well.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Should be like last week, yes.
Yes. And the sad thing to sort of also note, like, we're talking about the effects of COVID. The tour that you had booked, 3 of those venues have already closed permanently. So it will be a different world when we get through this. Like, it's an interesting thing. And that's why community is even more important. I'm going to keep saying it because it is very important that we do build this. All right. Thank you, Andre.
Thank you.
With that, I want to introduce Fabi from Sim Sao Paulo. I met Fabi a few years ago at Sim Sao Paulo. What an amazing time and event it is. Massive. The amount of people that I was introduced to, that's how I met DJ Mom. And you do such a great job. And throughout the last couple of years, we've been talking about collaboration and building community. And here we are kind of forced into it. Fabi, I think what you're doing with Sim this year is amazing. Could you please tell us first, what is Sim Sao Paulo and what you're doing this year?
Thank you so much for all these good words about me and Sim Sao Paulo. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the invitation again. So, Sim Sao Paulo is the São Paulo International Music Week. It's the 8th edition this year. So, we started in 2013 in a very different scenario here in Brazil. Can you imagine that in 2013, Spotify didn't have office here in Brazil. They just came to Brazil 1 year after. So it's a very different scenario now. Until last year, until COVID came, it was a very promising market. But okay, we are going to talk about that later. So Sim Sao Paulo is a music conference, market, and a showcase festival. Last year, in the 7th edition, we had 3,500 delegates from 27 countries, which is something really huge for us. And we had more than 40,000 people circulating through all the venues and concerts. I think we had more than 400 concerts because we have a huge live showcasing program. Bands and artists from all over the world. So Sim Sao Paulo is really focused in innovation and new music movements from Brazil and from many countries from all the continents. And we have a very strong conference with almost 100 panels and speakers from all over too. And also we have the networking and business activities where we try to join people, to put people together and to motivate new partnerships and new business. We really want people to have new ideas and to have new perspectives for the next year. That's why we are in December. So we used to say that in São Paulo is our end of year party. So we can see everybody, we can celebrate all the achievements of the year, and we can plan our next year, like feel, with new energy for the next year. So that's that I believe that this kind of meetings can generate this new energy. So that's what we try to do. And then the challenge is, how can we adapt all of this to the digital environment and to this new reality we are being forced to live? So we try to use all the advantage and opportunities of the digital world to make something special. So we are going to try to keep all the same volume amount of program, conference, panels, and shows, but we are going to spread the program into 34 days of festival. So it's going to start on November 3rd and it's going until December 6th. It's going to be a marathon of conference and showcases and everything. In this way, during this time period, we can connect with some other conference, some partners like Indieweek, for instance, and we can exchange content. I can do a Brazilian showcase here and Indieweek can broadcast in their program and the other way around also. And we can do that with all partners and conferences and festivals in the world. So let's use the digital opportunities we have to connect and to be closer. It's very urgent to be closer, especially for us poor Brazilian people who are who has no government and are like, we are like isolated here from the rest of the world. We cannot go to US, the borders are closed in Europe for us. So we need to connect with the international world and spread the news and talk about what's going on here. It's urgent. So we are going to do that in São Paulo for sure. We are very focused in the humanity part of it. Like we work with music as economic developer and identity, but also as a social transformer. Music has this power to transform lives and to create new futures if we want. So we want to give people choices of days. You can choose the best days for you to participate. You can choose the best timing. You can choose whatever content you want. So you don't need to spend 3 or 4 days in front of the computer, because I believe that in the end of the year, people are going to be fed up of that. And then you also can choose how you want to, how it's possible for you to participate. So a lot of people here, especially from the music industry, are broken. So we believe that a lot of people won't have money to buy the Pro Badge, which is the full ticket to have access to all the content. So we are launching next month new possibilities of participating in São Paulo. For instance, we are going to have a content and news web portal with daily news from everywhere. We are going to launch on August 24 a community, international community for music. So you can subscribe. You pay like a small fee every month, like $3, and then you can be part of this community. And you can connect with people from Brazil, Latin America, and all over the world, from the creative industries, music, artists, and everyone. So you can keep, we are going to do a lot of activities, and we are going to have exclusive contents for this community for the whole year. And then we have the event in 34 days, from November 3rd to December 6th. And that's what we're going to do. And after the event, we keep working on the community until next year. So let's hope next year is a better year and we can meet each other in person again. So we are going to have a hybrid event with the physical activities where we can meet, but then we are going to keep working on the digital and the community part of it.
Wow, that's absolutely monumental. And it's great to see, like, Fabi, I see you as basically a leader in moving forward through a lot of this with the activities that you're doing. And so thank you for this. And as I mentioned before, Sim Sao Paulo is just such a great event for connecting with business and artists. I'm still connected with a lot of the people that I met a couple years ago when I was there. So I wanted to sort of open up to the whole panel and open the discussion. The one thing that I got to say is, like, you know, I'm in Canada and the information here is pretty filtered. You know, I hear snippets of things that are going on about Brazil and what's the current state. And if we do see something, it's probably pretty negative, and talking about the president. Who last time, Fabi, we talked, he had just been diagnosed with COVID himself. So can you, and maybe we'll start with DJ Mom, maybe give us a little idea of, like, what's happening in your community. And I just sort of want to mention, Mom, you're in Rio, Andre, Brasilia, and Fabi, you're in Sao Paulo. So Mom, can you just sort of give us an update as to, like, what's happening in your local area?
We had in 22 of April, if I'm not sure, it was April, it's not, Fabi? A reunião ministerial. It was April.
Yeah, I believe it was 22nd or around this date.
Yeah,
yes.
We had the 22nd of April a meeting with the leaders of the ministers of environmental, education, economy, you know, with the president. That, you know, man, look like a meeting of people with some moral and ethical values, not good, talking about something. It was not a really encounter of leaders of some sectors of a country that has this size of Brazil. I'm talking about the size, the geographic size, and the metaphorical size also. You know, we Brazilians, we believe that we have a mission. Some of us, like human beings, like show how can we try to live together, you know, with poverty, with racial things, and of course, we have all the causes of the world because we make part of the world. But even for us, that has the stamp of the happy people, it was a shock because they treat our country and our cause like. I don't have adjectives, like the environmental minister said, let's pass the coal, let's pass the booze, let's pass. It's a kind of proverb. Can I say proverb? Like
Yep.
while the country is looking at to survival, let's burn the Amazon, let's sell all the lands. What? And things like that happens in this encounter. So we can use a lot of paragraphs and characters to say about what's happened in our cause, in the country. We lost our cultural minister, our place to look at the country, and after that, the people that are invited to work with the culture in Brazil, come on, look like some of them are artists, look like a character, not that person, because it couldn't be real, you know. And the thing that more shocked me, and I believe in the most part of the population, and people who has a bit of interest for intellectual things, for culture, is the authority way, you know. And I was afraid when the government changed, because I used to be military. I used to study in the officer schools from Navy, Air Force, and the Army. My friends from my class, some are in the government, you know. One is minister. I should be colonel, but I choose the artist who use a kind of cloth that can remember a hero, a warrior. Because I think the Brazil is not with war with no country. We have a war with our disease. And this kind of disease of Brazil not appears to be fight for this government. This government, as other governments, I let everybody talk about your country, but our country fights with a ghost. And all the ghosts that we create, this government creates to fight against, is just to take out the attention to the reality, because we still are hungry. We still are hungry. We still have people passing difficult times with health conditions. And imagine all this country poor, so with so many diseases nowadays, without an eye to take care. It's the opposite. The indigenous people have 150% more possibility to die in contact of coronavirus. They are millions before start the colonize here. And nowadays, look like that the plan to exterminate all the civilization. But we had 270 indigenous in Brazil, ethnic groups in Brazil, because Brazil is a creation from European that are brothers and sisters nowadays, but in that time it wasn't, you know. And Brazil is a creation. They have 270, but they are in areas that it's are rich areas of mineral and you know, another kind of economies. So we had nowadays, and I will finish my speak. It's all about the life that we are living. But some of these thoughts, it's interesting indigenous philosopher that are teaching us to look at the world, because it's not just Brazilian cause. His name is Ailton Krenak, and he released a little book called The Idea to the End of the World. Idea to finish to the end of the world. So it's very interesting, the view, and for me the solution after this government is give attention to this kind of sabedoria, please. sabedoria.
Knowledge.
Of knowledge, yes, from the people from Africa and people from indigenous, and of course, European, we love it, but we know, the Occidental world know how to think. But let's hear the original people, because it's not it's the objective way to kill this kind of people, because they have some view that is not focusing money. African people, the tribal people, and the indigenous, they talk about life, they talk about love, they talk about nature, and it's not about money. And so you don't want to care about the favelas and indigenous around the road. So we don't have a government that look at this and kill a kind of politics that kill this kind of people. Not take care. Very good.
Yeah, and I think it's a worldwide movement that's happening right now. A lot of the talks within Canada is about connecting with our Indigenous communities and listening to some of their advice as coming from the earth and taking care of the earth. And we're all on the same planet, and we all have to take care of each other and our planet. So,
yes.
And it's we're going to talk to Andre in a second, and I've been in many talks with Andre about politics in Brazil and how it's just dividing the people. And I think it's not just Brazil, but it's everywhere, and it's interesting to hear this. Andre.
Okay. Okay. I listened, Mom, here. And
yes.
I wrote something to speak better here during the other speech. So it's important. It would be great if we talk about how Brazil is passing through the cultural sector.
Yes.
But it's not possible, because we are not passing through this like it's a war for us. I see like that. Because this government, they see the culture like as a threat, because it's a threat for them. Since the dictator, like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, the cultural movement was the fighters against the conservatives, against the fascists, against this. Not America, but USA lovers that we have here. I like USA, but not the USA lovers that we have here. So this government don't support the culture, because it's not good for them. Because they see like the first enemy is not the political guys that are against Lula, or the people that are in the opposite side of the politics. I see like that. I see that we are the first enemies for this government, because since the beginning of the government, before the COVID, before the virus, they are working against the cultural sector. And so because of that, culture, music, theater, plays, cinema, nothing is a priority for this government. They want us to do like they want us to produce cultural works. Like they see that they think that this producer should be. They try to impose what we should do, and we don't want that in music or in festivals. So the majority of the cultural sector try to tell the truth in our producers, in our magazines, in our music, in our festivals, and they hate that. So with the pandemic, they have the excuse that they want to destroy us. They are trying to do that. I think it's impossible because the cultural sector, the musicians, the artists are more than it's an idea. It's not a company. So we will survive, but it's hard to pass through that. We are seeing a lot of people, a lot of musicians, for example, here in Brasilia, selling the instruments because they don't have jobs, they don't have support. We don't have a plan here to get out of this place. So we have some huge works like CoMA, like SIM, like other festivals and initiatives that will pass through this because we have some tools to survive, but it's not the reality for the majority. Most of the cultural sector are broken now. The venues are closing too. And we don't have a plan. So we are struggle to survive. Yeah, it's correct to say that. Yeah, okay. But we have this because they want to impose this ideological point of view that they have that are stupid. Some of them thinks that the earth is plane, I say. It's like, it's not, yeah, man. Believe me, it's happened here. So, for example, CoMA will survive. We start to do something. We spoke about that 1 month ago by a call. We are doing something to start in November. We are watching and waiting for SIM because SIM is the point of everybody meets everybody here. So we have some works, some projects that will survive, but we will need to restart everything again.
Right.
So it will be a struggle, but we have a point of view. We have this fight against the government, and I think all the cultural sector, or 92% of the cultural sector here, will not stop this war. We are going to suffer it, but we will resist, something like that.
Right. And I have no doubt, Andre, your passion and your courage in moving forward. And I know during some of the political changes that were taking place, you were actually very instrumental in the talks about the Minister of Culture and so forth. So we thank you for that work. I want to talk to Fabi for a second. Fabi, thinking of some of the talks that I've been hearing already, Brazil is known to be a festival environment. I can't remember how many festivals are in Brazil. Like there's something like 200, right?
Yeah, maybe more than that, I think. Yeah, because it depends on what kind of festival you're talking about, because we have many Brazils inside Brazil. So we have many kinds of festivals. The kind of festival that Andre does is like, maybe we can say 200. But then if we have the folklore or local festivals or, I don't know, we have so many kind of, or the country festivals and many others. We had, we tried to map this festival market in 2018, and we came to a number of 1,980 something festivals.
Wow.
Okay. It's crazy. Yeah. So we don't know them. It's like, it's crazy. It's such a big country. And Okay, you have a question, or
yes.
Can I add?
So this is a big impact on all communities, and financially. And one thing, being a foreigner visiting the country many times, it's like music is ingrained in everybody. Movement and dancing and celebrating. You go to a small bar in Lapa, and it's musicians around a table and everyone's dancing around them. It's like, this is much more in the culture, and financially, with that number of events, it's got to be just monumental impact. Like, anyone even start to determine what is the impact and how to get through that?
Yeah, and there is one important thing to say before answering that, is that to add something in Man and André's speech, it's important to understand what kind of person is the president of Brazil. I never say my president, our president, because it's not mine. I don't recognize him as a president. So the president of Brazil is a crazy person. He's totally insane, and he is evil. We are not talking about a normal person. He's like evil. His plan is, if he has a plan, is to kill people. I'm not, it's like, I'm not exaggerating here, because we have a genocide in the power. Okay, he's a fascist. He's a racist. He's stupid as hell. He's the most stupid guy in this country. He's stupid. And he has the power in his hand now. And can we imagine that when you give power to stupid and evil people, what happened? So this plan of destroy the culture sector in Brazil, it's not from now, it's from before the election. So all his campaign to be a president was made of fake news. And part of this fake news were made to make artists look useless and people that doesn't work,
Communists.
Communists. Yes, we are talking about communism, in 2012. Sorry, 2020. And we are talking about communism again. So people are afraid of communism. It's like, it's insane what's going through. We are going through here. So
and if I can, one thing that I remember, and I believe it was Andre that told me about this, and you can verify this or not, is mentioned how the leader is also homophobic. And
totally.
And I believe I've seen this where he's like, yeah, shoot them if you want. Like, he's literally that open about these views, where it's unbelievable to me that exists today.
He says that, and he's proud of that. And then people that agrees with him, but it was not allowed to say it loud, now they are empowered by the president. It's like, somehow it's not like weird anymore to say that you don't like black people and you don't like gay people. It's like, it's insane. Wow. It's insane, the situation. Of course, it's not the most part of the country. Okay. The last survey showed that the supporters, people that still believe in Bolsonaro, is now 30% of the country. So we also have a hashtag here in Brazil saying that we are 70%. Don't forget that. Okay, we have the power. We are the majority. So we don't like him. We don't agree with him. So let's do something. and the arts and music, they are very powerful tools to change that, and they know it. Also, the press are powerful, is a powerful tool to fight against it, and he's trying to make artists and journalists put artists and journalists in a bad situation, like don't believe journalists and don't believe artists because they don't do anything,
They are against Brazil. They hate Brazil.
They are against Brazil. They take the government money and they don't do anything. So a lot of fake news circulating. So people that doesn't know how to identify a fake news or, what is a real news, they are confused. And we have WhatsApp here in Brazil, which is really, really strong. And this fake news circulating a lot. So the justice, the judge, the ministry, I don't know how to say in English this, but I need a translator now. But yeah, Supremo Tribunal.
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court. Oh, thank you, Andre. The Supreme Court here. I used to say that they are like goalkeepers, like the president do something really wrong, and then the judge go there and say, no, it's not going to pass. No. You're not allowed to do that. So they are trying to control their insanity because they are, it's crazy. But the point is, we never had a very easy environment for culture, for arts here in Brazil. It was always difficult. We never depended on the government. We always had to do the things ourselves, to go look for sponsors, to promote ourselves, to sell tickets, to do things our own. We don't have government politics that continues, that give us a plan, a career plan, or an industry plan. There is nothing like that for the cultural sector in Brazil. Never was. The difference is that the previous government, Lula and Dilma, they were not insane. They wanted something good for Brazil. We believed that. And we could talk to them. They had really good cultural ministers working for them, like Gilberto Gil, for instance. But now we don't even have the Ministry of Culture anymore.
Wow.
They extinguished it.
And to give contrast in Canada here, we've got two sort of private coalitions that have developed because of this amongst venues and festivals. And we have Canada Live Music Association that's taking part in organizing all that. And they're the ones that are talking on our behalf to the government, lobbying. I mentioned before about a relief fund that is coming out, or applications due next Wednesday. And that's part of the result of that. So, I think a lot of people in Canada and other countries, basically anytime you're trying to do international or export activities and connections, it is about understanding the culture and understanding the people that we're trying to connect with. And, from all of you in knowing you, politics is ingrained and in the culture, but that's because of the results, and often the music is the message. And
yes.
It's so important.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn that. There's a different meaning to the songs that are written, and there's a meaning behind it. I wanted to say that we're nearing the end of the Global Toronto Hour. We can keep talking.
Really?
Yeah, it's how fast this goes, right? It's crazy. So Zach is going to drop a link to our Zoom. So if you're in Global Toronto and want to jump over back here, feel free to do so. I did have a question, Fabi, that came in, and it's asking about your activities. Are you launching, are you working on events before November 2nd, the Community of International Music Professionals? Will people have access to that prior to November?
Yes. We are launching the Sing community on August 24.
Excellent.
Okay. So you can start connecting, setting up meetings, and we are going to have some activities there, yes, and some exclusive contents too, all in Portuguese and English.
Wow. Again, not a small undertaking.
No.
And if anybody has any questions in our Zoom chat, just throw it into the link here or into the sidebar. We do promote connections and everybody talking. There was a question here. What has or is happening to the SESC system under Bozo and during COVID?
SESC.
SESC, yeah.
SESC,
Oh.
SESC. Okay. You want to talk or?
No.
To sum up, it's like the government is trying to cut off part of the taxes that go to SESC. They want to use this money in other things. Because, of course, SESC deals with culture, education, and sports. Why do the government want to give money to culture, education, and sports?
Yeah, tell me.
And SESC is the best initiative in Brazil. We used to say that the real Ministry of Culture in Brazil is the president of SESC. You know, because he deals with a huge amount of money, and he does a lot of initiatives and projects and a lot of things. SESC is amazing, but they are trying to cut this money off SESC. And with COVID now, they are all closed. Some units are, I'm talking about SESC because SESC is in São Paulo. We have some units in Rio and some in the rest of the country, but São Paulo really works. They have a lot of money from the industries here. And some units are doing online events, so they don't stop, but some of them. Many are closed, like all the venues.
Right. Excellent. Thank you for that information. And we are coming, again, very close to the end of the hour with Global Toronto. Again, the Zoom link should have been sent, and if you want to join us here, we're going to keep chatting a bit. I don't see any other questions, but if you have any questions, add them into the. I wanted to talk briefly with Julie. We want to bring back Julie. So Julie is an artist that I met in Chile while on the CAB trip, which is Chile, Argentina, Brazil. And we've been friends and working together, stuff with Trampa and CoMA and Indieweek and much more. Julie, you actually moved to Brazil at January. So again, we're very lucky to have Julie because not only is she a great artist, but had this personal experience in Brazil as a Canadian and came back as a result of COVID. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think just briefly, I want to say I actually met my first Brazilian band at Indieweek in 2017. So I met Scaleni, and I have a project here called Eclectic Comfort. So we filmed them, and then meeting Darryl, we started doing more work with Trampa, and we had them at one of our shows and filmed them as well. And then through that, ended up going the first time to Brazil about 2 years ago for Festival CoMA, which was amazing. And I think, I think it's very common for people to be enamored with Brazilian people in general, just because of their spirit and their openness, and their kindness to other people, I think. So I obviously was definitely drawn to that as well, and really enjoyed just meeting different people, and started learning some Portuguese, and ended up going back for a full tour in December, starting with Fabiana's festival, Sim São Paulo. So I hosted one of their showcase nights at Presidenta in São Paulo. And it was called Poder Feminino. And we had a bunch of female artists playing. I played together with Far From Alaska, which is an amazing band from Brazil. Yeah, and so through all of that, I have in my other life, I have had a career as a video producer, and I ended up working last year for a company that is in Toronto but has a Brazilian office as well in Sao Paulo. So they're part owned by Brazilians also. So they ended up, after the results of this tour, they were kind of following along on Instagram, and they were like, would you want to go back for us and like help sort of bridge the two offices culturally and just with the work and everything. So yeah, so I was super excited to go back, and I did get one show in before everything got shut down. I got to play at Mirante 9 de Julio, which is a really cool outdoor venue that has an interesting view of the city in Sao Paulo. And it was for Março Feminista, which was like a feminist, the month of March, it was feminist programming. So I played with all women in the band, and it was really, really incredible. So yeah, so then I had to, around mid-March, when everything in the world started to, or everything, I guess, maybe in the Western Hemisphere, everyone started to freak out. Unfortunately, I had to come back. I wasn't in a position with healthcare or other things to be able to stay in Brazil. And it was really hard. I was really, really happy to be there. And I really fought the company that I was working for about a week or so before they were like, no, you have to come back now. So it's been hard. It's been hard to see from afar, just the amount of pain and suffering I think that's going on right now in Brazil, and knowing obviously like so much politically was happening before, and then this coronavirus I think just really accentuated that even more. So luckily, I mean, on the music side, I've been able to still collaborate with a bunch of people that I've met down there over the internet. Thank you for the internet. Thank you, universe, for the internet. But yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah, it's been great to watch from the first introduction to the second and growing. I wanted to ask you, as an artist, like, what has your experience been about exporting to Brazil as one country? Like, knowing obviously there's other places we could go.
Yep.
You know, what do you see as an artist, like the value of going to another country? I know we've had some conversations about it. Mm-hmm. If you can, you know, give us a chat. And I do have to say one thing. It is 6:02. Thank you, Global Toronto, for allowing us to be part of this. Mm-hmm. We always end up having these great conversations. But if you want to join us, click the Zoom link. We're going to go for a little bit more.